Welcome to From a Woman to a Leader, a podcast dedicated to discussing the challenges and providing tips for women in tech leadership. Hi, I'm your host, Limor Bergman-Gross, and in each episode, we'll hear from other successful women in tech, sharing their stories, insights, and advice. Join us as we empower each other to reach our full potential in the tech industry. Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of From a Woman to a Leader. I have a great pleasure having today with me Zhe Scott, and we're going to talk about her incredible journey from being a homeless to founding multi-million-dollar marketing firm called the SEO Queen. And Zhe is, as I said, the CEO of the SEO Queen, a digital marketing agency. She's also a podcast host and author. Hi, Zhe. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing great. How are you?
Great. Thank you so much for being here today. Really appreciate that. It's so early for you, so even more so.
Early here, but I'm happy to be here with you.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe we'll start about, Zhe, if you can share a little bit about your background and how you initially kind of entered the tech industry.
Well, when I was growing up as a child, I always had the latest personal computer, from the Atari to the Commodore to the Windows-based machines, because my father was a computer science graduate from Cal State Dominguez Hills in Carson, California. And so he always had us around technology. And he's the reason why I applied to and was accepted to MIT. So I was always around technology. He taught me how to program.
Wow, that's incredible.
Mm-hmm.
I used to have one of those Commodores myself.
Many years ago.
Yeah. So you went to an MIT. That's
Yes.
very impressive. And then what? How did
Well,
you join
after I graduated from MIT, I worked for a company called Raytheon. And Raytheon, I worked in their command, communication, and control department as a web applications developer. And about, I would say, a year after working there, I went to work to take advantage of the full scholarship I had earned to get my master's degree in public policy. Right before I went to grad school, I got married. And, during the course of that relationship and a lot of things that happened, I ended up becoming homeless at one point. So I literally, during the time where I was, right before I had quit the job, a bunch of things happened. And so I ended up starting my company in 2012 with just a laptop and myself. And so that's basically what happened. I wasn't homeless long. It was maybe I think there was one day, there was just different patches in there, but 2012 was a very difficult year, but that was the year I had decided to stop working for this other company that I had grew. My book of business alone was just $500,000 recurring a year. And so walked away from that job because they were paying me US at the time, $1,667 base. So I really couldn't survive on that. Plus I felt when I was going through some old papers recently and I found one of the letters, I really felt like the owner really didn't know what he was doing. I was his plan. But a lot of the things he was stressed out about, it's not even an issue in my company.
Yeah. So you had a role model of how not to run a business.
Yeah. And honestly, he was paying me so little. I literally was I could replace my own income and have a smaller book of business and just do it myself. And that's pretty much has been the case now. My team is I think we're getting close to 10 people now. We're about seven to 9 people, depending on what projects we have going. But my company is just, we just finished the Goldman Sachs 10,000 small business. We finished our growth plan and we're rolling out a magazine next month. So we're busy over here at the SEO Queen.
Yeah, sounds like it. Before we get there, and we'll talk about your company, And you mentioned like being homeless. So can you share like how you overcome those challenges and how those experiences shape your resiliency and determination to build your business and your career?
Well, one thing, it taught me how to plan ahead because, when all those things happened, I literally, well, one, I really wasn't making enough money for emergency situations. Now I have savings. Now I'm not as strict as I would like to be about my budgeting, but I do have a budgeting system that I adhere to, and it just makes all the difference in the world. And so I plan my expenses out months in advance, not just, what's due now. And also, I know my worth. That was the other thing. It's like there was no way that I should have been working for as little money as I was working for at the time. So got out of that situation. And yeah, and honestly, like, working for another company, it was so risky for me with the degrees I had. I remember one interview I had went on during that time period, and someone looked at my resume and they were like, "Why are you looking for a job here? Why are you should have your own company." That's what they told me. You should work for yourself. That's
Yeah,
awkward to go on to an interview and somebody to say that to you.
yeah, yeah.
That's so awkward. Yeah, but that was one of my experiences. And I literally, like, when it comes to building a brand and bringing it to market and entrepreneurship, it's not for everybody. But for
Absolutely.
those who it's for, like, you should do it. If you understand the pain that, consumers or a business has, and you can be the answer to their prayer, you should totally get out there. I think the key for me, the key to my success has been being coachable and asking questions about, what can I improve? What don't I know? What can I do to improve my business? And that's made, all the difference in the world.
Absolutely. And you mentioned like running a business is not for everyone. How did you know that that's the right thing for you?
Well, I felt like the company that was paying me like less than $1,700 base a month, I felt like I was pretty much running the whole thing. Like, I would craft the marketing campaigns, I would direct the social media team, I would tell the cold email team, like, this is what we need on the CRM. Like, I literally was acting as a chief marketing officer, but I wasn't making chief marketing officer money. And like, there was times where clients would have issues with their websites, and instead of me waiting on the development team to deal with it, I fixed it myself. So, just having this Swiss Army knife skill set just got me to think, and
Yeah.
and and made me say, why am I settling for, this role in this scenario when there's really no gratitude there for what I'm bringing to the table or compensation? Because I added up all the revenue I was making, and when you're bringing in, between, half a million and $1 million a year to a company, like, the ROI on you is crazy, right? And
Yeah.
so I'm bringing to the table, but why am I struggling to pay my bills? That was the disconnect that I acknowledged. And so I literally was like, I could literally, because I know the whole operations on what to do. Plus, I'm the one bringing ideas to the table. So let me just do this for myself.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're kind of, handling the marketing operations and other things, and you realize kind of your ability to learn and do different things, different aspects of the business. Yeah.
Yeah, and when I was an undergrad at MIT, I had it in the back of my mind. I wanted to have my own venture. I wanted to be an entrepreneur. And MIT has this competition called the 50K competition. And I would always watch, every year for the years I was there, I would see, the companies that would come forward and what they would do. And I would always I'd be like, man, I wish I had an idea. I wish I had a company I could participate in the 50K competition. And yeah.
So you already or always had that aspiration
Yeah, I had
to
that
have something.
desire. I had
Yeah.
that desire. It's just, it wasn't until I got put into I had to, make a decision. And yeah, and then also like search engine optimization didn't exist when I first started at MIT. It did not exist. Like websites did. Like I built my first website in 1996. But just the power of Google. Google came about, I think it launched around 2001, 2002.
Mm-hmm.
And on that time I was graduating. And so as I was at Raytheon, and then I went to grad school, and then once I started getting out into the marketplace, I started to say, there is something to this Google. And then it really, to me, it really is a game changer. Like in 1996, I realized that putting your website up is really a game changer. But now the algorithm has gotten so advanced, technology is really, important, and it's moving quickly. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to launch my business, that magazine, the Algorithm magazine.
Yeah, so let's talk first about your company, the SEO Queen. Tell us a little bit, what was the driver behind that, behind starting your company?
Well, I started the SEO Queen. I launched it. We officially incorporated in 2017, January 2017. And, when I first launched my agency in 2012, I really hadn't put a lot of thought into the branding. And so when I got pregnant with my son, and I was, I wasn't working, I was nursing, during that time, I pretty much was doing a lot of thinking. And I started, brainstorming, and I was brainstorming with Fraser Hay, really good friend of mine, international business coach, speaker, author, credible business mind. And he and I were brainstorming one day, and we tossed around some ideas. And then he says, the SEO Queen. And I said, yes, that's it.
Incredible. Yeah, I love that name.
So the brand kind of just evolved from there. I think one day I'm going to do a video with a kind of like a montage of all the different websites we've had over the years.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Like, when you know better, when you do better, you grow. Websites
Absolutely.
don't look like they used to look
Yeah.
in the 90s. There's a whole different look. And same thing.
Some websites do, by the way. And you can tell.
Believe it or not, there are some companies who have like a website that they built in the 90s still to this day, which is wild. But
yeah. And you can tell immediately, right? When you see a website,
yes,
oh my God, this is like ancient history. And tell us a little bit about what you do and your quantum method.
Yeah, so the SEO Queen helps businesses get more customers, clients, and revenue without paying for expensive ad campaigns. And we help business owners to dominate their niche. And quantum SEO method helps business owners to own their niche, because we create playbooks, the processes, and really do a deep dive into their keyword economy. And so every niche, like if you look at like dresses, t-shirts, like whether you're selling, different services, there's a lot of keywords out there that aren't even being aimed for on Google. And so the quantum SEO method really does a huge assessment of the entire keyword economy to identify all the low competition, no competition keywords in your ecosystem, so that you can own Google page one for those keywords. And by extension, you go higher in the ranks for the more competitive keywords.
So you're saying you start with the lower competition keywords, you dominate them, and then you go to the higher ones.
Right. And the quantum SEO method literally like comes up with a content plan for every single relevant keyword in your ecosystem.
Yeah. That's wonderful. Can you share a little bit about your challenges that you faced building your business, and how did you overcome them and become so successful as you are today?
Well, I think, some of the challenges that I have had with the SEO Queen has been personnel, being able to communicate what's in my head as an entrepreneur. I think we tend to keep a lot of our thoughts to ourselves and not write them down. So that's one thing that I've been working really hard on, just getting all of my ideas systematized. Like it took us over a year to roll out our project management system.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why it took us so long is because I really wanted to make sure that there was buy-in with my team. And I really wanted to make sure that people got used to, utilizing it. Now it's firmly entrenched in our company culture. So I'm really happy about that. And so I think, putting the processes in place and just systematizing as much as we can is the key to our success.
Absolutely. And being a Black woman, if that's okay that I ask that, have you felt any specific challenges being a Black woman, both as an employee and also as an entrepreneur and a business owner?
Yeah, definitely have felt the challenge. I think that's one of the reasons why I started my own business, because I thought it's just completely different dynamic when you're a business owner versus an employee. And, one thing that I did when I was working for, other companies, I did seek out mentorship and just the whole, just the social dynamic. It could be a challenge. It could be a challenge, but I think now, like, even, business owner to business owner, sometimes it can be a challenge, but sometimes it can't. But I think the world is changing a little bit more with all the talk of DEI and everything else. I think people are a little bit more mindful of, avoiding microaggressions, or, one thing that would happen a lot is people would ask to touch my hair or just start touching my hair without asking me. I think people are starting to not do that so much. Every now and then I get, a white male business owner talking crazy to me in my LinkedIn.
What do
But
you mean talking crazy? What would crazy look like?
just asking me to give them like our company. Like I've had business owners approach me and say, well, I want to know like your whole list of, like, they're interested in us building some backlinks, and so they want to know like what our list is. And that's proprietary. Like we're not giving our database that we've built over years to anybody just for free. Like, no, we're not doing that. I mean, we have, if you look at our YouTube, we have a ton of testimonials of clients that we've worked for and worked with that we've gotten on Google page one. And if that's not enough for some clients, then maybe it's just not a fit for us to work with.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And you're at the point that you can be picky about your clients.
Yeah. I mean, we have so many great clients. I'm going to the Traffic and Conversion Summit in January. I'm in an AI mastermind, like just as the CEO of the SEO Queen, we're constantly educating ourselves about all the changes that are happening and experimenting with AI, with, we have an informal advisory board that I probably will make more formal soon, but we're keeping our finger on the pulse of what's happening in the technology field. And I realize that things are moving so quickly, you can't just think you're going to do SEO and that's going to be it. Like, I mean, back in 2017 when I launched that summer, because I incorporated in January, but that summer I did a summit. And I also was having a conversation with one of my colleagues, and he and I were doing some market research. And at the time I was only doing search engine optimization. That was my focus back in 2017. And we did some market research, and we found that only half of companies had a website. And so through that market research, we started offering website design services heavily. And that brings us in so much revenue. It's like sometimes we have more website clients than SEO clients.
Wow, that's fantastic. Yeah, I would be surprised. I would think, well, why wouldn't you have a website? Sounds kind of trivial.
Yeah, but I think, back in 2015, it was like 50% of businesses in the US had a website, and now it's more like 83% of businesses have a website now.
Yeah, probably because it got easier to build one.
Yeah, and also, with COVID, if you weren't online, people weren't just walking around, and just consumer behavior has changed.
Yeah.
People don't just go strolling down the street to say, "Oh, what shops?" They usually shop ahead of time online,
Yeah,
call before they go.
absolutely. Yeah. And let's talk about the new magazine that you're launching, the Algorithm magazine. Can you tell us
Yeah,
more about
so
it?
yeah, the Algorithm magazine is a technology magazine for business owners by business owners. And there's going to be how-to content in there. There's also a bunch of interviews. We're interviewing people who have used, whether it's social media technology or created their own algorithm to assess businesses, just all types of articles that are really helpful to the business owners, from operations to customer acquisition and more.
It's wonderful. Is it already out or it's going to be out?
It's going to be out next month. Yeah,
Oh,
we're
that's
seriously
exciting.
working on the content right now, getting everything together.
That's very exciting.
Absolutely. I'm excited because, I think there's a need for a magazine for business owners that looks at, how to apply like the latest technology to their business model. And so we're going to be looking at like, what is a CRM? What is a project management system? And so many different aspects of running a business. And yeah.
That's wonderful. I mean, you have to constantly evolve, right? I mean, and learn and adapt to new technologies and what's going on. Kind of just stay
Absolutely.
stagnated. Yeah.
Yeah, and the
Love.
pace of change is accelerating. And
Yeah.
so that's why I felt, really compelled to launch this magazine, because, you know, basically a lot of the things that I do internally, I'm sharing with the world through this magazine. The technology assessments that we do internally, and excuse me, and just that thought process, just, putting that out to help other business owners.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And how do you keep up yourself with everything that is going on with, excuse me, with the technology involvement?
Well, you know what? I am a proponent of masterminds. So I really like tapping into live events, masterminds, do a lot of reading, YouTube videos, email lists. So I like to stay informed.
Wonderful. Yeah. Obviously, with such a rich technology background, I'm sure it comes kind of easy, natural to me, to you.
Yeah, it does. It does. Plus, I
See
think
how,
it's interesting. It's very interesting.
yeah, I agree with you. I love following up on, especially in generative AI space. I really
Hmm.
fascinating with what's going on there.
Yeah, yeah. I've really gotten into AI with its application to video editing. It's really fascinating. The players. I think there was a few weeks ago, I basically tried a bunch of AI video editing platforms, and what I found was really interesting.
Wow. Any
Very interesting.
recommendations you want to share? Or we have to
If they
read your
my
magazine?
recommendations will be in my magazine.
In your magazine. Wow.
Yes, yes, my recommendations will be in there.
Okay, I'll definitely, want to publish your magazine. If you already have the website or whatever information you have to share, I'll post it on the show notes, definitely.
Okay, great, great, great. Awesome. The magazine website is up, thealgorithmmagazine.com, and we haven't posted any content just yet to the website because I'm still pouring through what are we going to release now, what are we going to say for the magazine, and yeah,
Yeah,
making those decisions. But we should be starting to post content soon.
perfect. That sounds very exciting. I'm definitely going to check it out. And other than the Algorithm magazine, how else people can find you and reach out to you?
Well, you can reach out to me personally on SEOqueen.com and on all social networks at the SEO Queen.
Perfect. Z, thank you
Mhm.
so much for being here today. It was great talking to you.
Well, thanks for having me. I really appreciate the invitation.
Thank you for listening to another episode of From a Woman to a Leader. This is your host, Limor Bergman-Gross, and I want to encourage you to reach out to me on LinkedIn, Limor Bergman, and let me know, what do you think about the episodes? Feel free also to comment on Apple Podcasts and tell me, what do you want me to talk about? Which guests do you want me to bring? I really appreciate that, and have a wonderful day.